Good morning. This is Josh Hayes with Hedge Plus, and here's today's market monitor. Well, I couldn't have been more relieved yesterday to see how things turned out, especially at this time yesterday when we were looking at the overnight dramatically down in response to the implementation of the tariffs. And, I did feel as though there's a possibility there was a little bit of overreaction. International trade was hearing some of the same fear and rumors and assumptions about how badly this was going to go. That many are here. We're being told here, never being told maybe the full picture and how maybe their own countries were. Implementing have had these tariffs on the U.S. for so long, and that that there'd be this willingness to make deals. So it was good to see the markets actually hold up yesterday in the day session. It was also good to see export sales have a solid report. Corn, beans, and wheat were all within the range of expectations, middle of the numbers. Had the numbers been really poor, there was even, I think, one trade estimate that we'd have no wheat sales on the report. And thankfully, that was what we actually came in on the upper end of ranges there. So with the weakening U.S. dollar, that was one of the benefits of what happened yesterday. There's a give and take. There's a balance to everything. And I've said for so long now that the world can't just shift their demand to someone else or to multiple other places. The world has to get some of this from the U.S. So, and then you add in the added aspect that Canada and Mexico were exempt from any new tariffs, and it showed that there was definitely strong consideration given to the ag markets when deciding who to tariff and how much. So that was all a positive. We still aren't out of the woods yet, but it would be really promising to see prices hold here, because once we clear this, there's really nowhere to go but up. All it'll take is just about any kind of weather issue to send the markets higher. And fundamentals, by the way, with corn especially, are strong enough to allow the market to run a little bit right away as soon as people feel comfortable that the tariffs won't destroy markets for us. In other news, U.S. grain areas are starting to come out of or lessen the number of acres that are in drought. Recent rains have helped improve both corn and wheat to the lowest levels of acres in drought we've seen since October. So a positive step in that direction. Wheat hasn't seen quite as much improvement, but this last round of rain that is still hitting the eastern half of the United States did bring some rain to Texas and Oklahoma, so that should help out there. Overall, if this is the worst of the tariff saga and we start to see some deals and the reshuffling I've expected starts to happen, where we actually start to maybe get some purchasing from some countries that typically hadn't ordered from us in the past, I think we can move forward. I will note, though, as I'm recording this, the market is starting to drive down again. And from what I can tell, there's just been an announcement that China is putting an extra 34% tariff on U.S. goods. Not a surprise. That's something we figured we'd see, maybe thought we might see things like that even to a higher degree yesterday. It will get worked out. China has indicated a desire to negotiate. This is probably, almost assuredly, a tactic of theirs to speed up those negotiations. Taking a look at the weather, we are still watching possible flooding in states like Missouri, Tennessee, Kentucky, Illinois, Indiana, and Ohio. From what I've seen, the worst of the flooding would probably fall in places like Tennessee, Kentucky, and Ohio, in that Ohio River Valley. It's still going to remain to be seen just how bad the flooding got, and whether it's just a delay of planting or causes widespread areas of replanting, and perhaps could keep some people out of the fields for quite a while. That has yet to be determined. I have yet to see anything that gives me any kind of finality with that. In Australia, most wheat areas are still too dry. That has caused some of their production estimates to fall already. In South America, not really a whole lot of weather concern right now. I'd say if there's one concern at all, it's still parts of Brazil experiencing dryness. If that keeps up and they get through this month without much rain, that puts an end to their monsoon season early, and that could definitely cause some issues with their safrinha crop. Far too early to say definitively that they'll have a major issue there just yet. When I made this chart no less than 10 minutes ago, we were actually up in corn. Beans were holding fairly steady and wheat was around even. These numbers, to put it in perspective, compared to yesterday, that's about 10 cents higher with corn than we were at this time yesterday. Wheat about 6 cents higher than where we were yesterday. And beans were only about 1 cent down from where they were yesterday. Beans just didn't have quite the same bounce back during the day yesterday as the other markets did, and that makes sense because China was hit with massive tariffs. So there's obviously fear that that won't get settled. Well, with beans, thankfully, we have the most amount of time. This is not a time they'd be buying from us anyway. We have to until our harvest to really sort that situation out. So, like I said, these prices have come down. We're now about 4 cents down with corn at this exact moment, 15.5 cents down with beans, and 7.5 cents with wheat. And that is, again, on the breaking news that China has announced an extra 34% tariff on U.S. goods. We'll see if, much like yesterday, if the international marketplace and these overnight markets react to that far more severely than the domestic and U.S. market once we have the daytime session today. Hopefully, we'll have a repeat of yesterday where these markets bounce right back. That's all for today. Have a great day and a great weekend, everybody, and we'll talk to you again next week.